New Hampshire, the fifth smallest state by land area in the United States. It's the ninth least populated state in America, but has the highest percentage of timberland in the country. It is home to many recreational attractions such as hiking, snowmobiling, skiing, motorsports, and more. The White Mountains range in New Hampshire spans the north-central portion of the state, with Mount Washington the tallest in the northeastern United States. The White Mountain National Forest links the Vermont and Maine portions of the Appalachian Trail. Much of the state, in particular the White Mountains, is covered by the conifers and northern hardwood trees. The town of Newmarket was incorporated in 1727. It is one of 6 granted by Massachusetts in the last year of the reign of King George I. The town was granted full town privileges by the legislature in 1737. The Lamprey River runs through town and was named after John Lamprey, an early settler. The river formerly served as a major water transportation link connecting the inland regions with Portsmouth Harbor and the Atlantic Ocean. The Lamprey is now appreciated as a significant recreational asset. Newmarket is located in Rockingham County, New Hampshire. Just one look at the picturesque area and its rich history, one might not think the area is also home to numerous Bigfoot sightings. In 2013, a 14-year-old boy was riding his mountain bike in the woods in Rockingham County when he heard a loud howl. He stopped his bike and looked to the right in the woods, and he saw a big, dark figure hitting a tree. The boy started pedaling his bicycle as fast as he could back toward his house. This sighting was investigated by the BFRO, and in their report, the young boy estimated the figure to be about 9 feet tall. In March of 2012, Jason Morse of Newmarket had a sighting that would launch him full force into Bigfoot investigating. Prior to his sighting, Jason had had an interest in the subject and occasionally took trips to the forest to look for evidence. But that cold day in March changed many things for Jason. We had a chance to sit down with Jason and get the full details of that eventful day and the ones that followed.
I was walking on the road that I lived on at the time in Market, New Hampshire. It was Ash Swamp Road. I was walking along with my dog, and just a casual little stroll, nothing out of the ordinary. And all of a sudden the dog froze and started staring off into the woods. So naturally I tried to see what he was looking at. I lined myself up with where he was looking and tried to find out what he was seeing. And started shaking. The dog started shaking real bad and whimpering and so forth. That was a little odd to me, but the dog's not that brave, so when I lined up myself looking where he was looking, I saw a dark figure. I only saw it from about here up at first, back and forth. While this was happening, I was not really sure why at the moment, but I pulled out my cell phone and I took a picture, zoomed in as much as I could. Probably the subject that I took the picture of was probably 250, 300 feet away anyway. So then, as I said, I turned around to start leaving, because figuring if it was a bear, I didn't want anything to happen to me, and especially not the dog. And as soon as I started to turn and look to walk away, I kept my eyes on the subject that I saw, and it stood up, took a little bit of a turn, spun his whole upper body around to look back at me, and started walking away, 2 legs. As it walked away, I'm standing there in disbelief that I was actually looking at what I was looking at, because I knew immediately what I was looking at. Its head bumped a little limb on a tree, so I took note of where that limb was. Took the dog back to the house, grabbed a sidearm, changed my shoes to a pair of rubber boots, because I knew the area down there was marshy. And it's on a whim and grabbed a tape measure, because I remembered that branch that he bumped his head on. I went back to the area. As I walked to where I saw it, rather surprised when there was some water down in the area. It looked to be about knee high to the subject that I saw. When I got down there, it was almost to my hips. It was probably halfway, 2/3 of the way up my thighs. But anyway, I went to where that limb was, and I measured from the ground to where it was standing up to that limb, and the limb was 9'4" off the ground. So that puts the subject that I saw at about 9'6". And that was my very first visual sighting of a Bigfoot. It was like a dark reddish brown. It was more brown than red, but the way the sun hit it, there was some red highlights in there.
The picture taken by Jason that day was taken with his cell phone. These types of cameras are not designed for taking pictures of subjects at long distances. They are designed more for up-close objects. Here is the original image captured by Jason. We have attempted to enhance the image in an effort to reveal more details. Although not clear, we can see through these enhancements what appears to be a figure. It also appears the figure is the color described by Jason. This was Jason's first sighting of a Bigfoot he would come to call Goliath, but it sure wouldn't be his last.
The dog was looking down the driveway, barking at something. There was no traffic. I'm gonna walk down to where I saw him cross yesterday. It sucks, it's getting dark and my phone camera doesn't work too good. And if there is a Bigfoot walking around here right now, I feel bad for him because the deer flies are just about eating me alive. Actually a little bit nervous. 2 sightings yesterday. Like everybody knows, he's big. He seems to be in a pretty decent mood most of the time. But yesterday, this is where he came through. I don't know how well this can be seen. It's a structure of my neighbor's. Come right up through here. Stepped over this rock wall. I'm gonna try for giggles to make 3 steps across the driveway. Yeah, but then he made it over that. That is, well, from here, from the far side of the driveway, he put 1 foot on the edge, 1 step, and he went right to the middle of the driveway. And the next step, he was at the end of the driveway. I still have 3 more feet to go before I get to the other edge. And that's about right, because there's my house and the dog hopefully barking at me. That's my front door, my house. Okay, back to this. This isn't really coming out on the video too well, I don't think, but that rock, I'm standing in the driveway right now. I am about 6'3", 6'4", and I can just barely look over that rock. So that means it's about right here that I would have lost sight of him. I'm right at the other edge of the driveway. So all I can think of, considering he made it across there, 1 step on the far edge, 1 step in the middle, and 1 step to where I'm standing. He probably stepped from here, an elevation change of probably 2.5 feet up to here. Oh. I can't do it without kind of crawling. And from here, again, I am 6'4". I'm going to try to turn this around. This is about my waist. I can't tell where you can see where my waist is. So this rock wall is waist high to me. This is kind of cool too. Just sticking out there over the road. As I was saying, he had to take 1 step over this wall, which I'm not even going to try to do. And I'm going to guess this isn't going to come out. There's kind of a pathway headed right up this way. Again, this is just out in the yard. Right now, probably can't see it in this light, but I'm standing right where the print was, facing my house. So that gives you an idea of how close he was. He was standing here. I saw from the small of his back and down to just below his knee Because right here, again, you can't see it, is a small hump of dirt. And then I'm going to put my arm up about as far as I can. So that's about 8.5 feet or so. And I'm guessing that he was probably a foot taller than that, because these branches right here was obstructing my view from about the middle of his back and up. And that was the second sighting that I had in 24 hours when he was in that spot that I was just in.
As Jason's curiosity grew, so did his research efforts. He conducted numerous field research trips that yielded some evidence, but there was still much more he wanted to learn about Bigfoot.
I think I might have gone off into some other territory or something, because I'm getting stuff thrown at me. Small, like acorns and small things, nothing that would cause really any damage if I get hit. Like a small rock at one point. I'm just starting to feel like I'm really not welcome here. And this place is a little bit, I guess funky feeling is the word. I definitely think that I'm not in Goliath's territory, unless he's just playing a game the way he thinks is fun. But anyway, I'm gonna sign off. I'm hearing movement all over the place, like from every direction. Real subtle. I can't tell if it's just wind, maybe squirrels or something. They're really subtle movements from about every direction. A little nerve-wracking. Don't know for sure. That was from him. I don't think it would be. It's awful small. Plenty of deer.
During this time, he was still having some activity around his house. This activity led to the capture of some vocals. We have attempted to enhance these sounds. At the time, Jason lived very close to where he had his first sighting. But some unexpected news from Jason's landlord was about to change all of that. Jason reflects on the news.
After all my experiences when I was living on Ash Swamp Road, I was really bummed out when my landlord decided to sell the house that I was living in, and sadly I had to move. I only moved about 1.5 miles away, but it was so convenient being there because he was pretty much coming to my doorstep. It was upsetting because I was just starting to build a rapport with him, it seemed like.
But later that same year, Jason had another sighting of Goliath. Once again, he managed to take another long-distance photograph of the creature. We have attempted to enhance the image, but unfortunately, there just isn't much detail or clarity to the figure. That same night, Jason conducted a night investigation in the area where he saw Goliath.
Okay, at the beginning of this audio, I don't know if you heard that. It sounded like a bird. Well, it's 10 o'clock at night. It's pitch dark. There are no birds. There's nothing. Once in a while, there's a car going by. Because I am just off a back road. There's one going by right now. This bird that I just heard was coming from the same place that I've heard several other vocalizations. So, yeah, there's no way around it. I know that I can hear footsteps really close. And I've been looking through my infrared scope and I don't see anything. I'm hearing a lot of things. I just hope the hell some of this stuff comes out on audio.
By this time, Jason was deep into the research of Bigfoot. He logged numerous sighting reports in and around his area in New Hampshire. He also appeared on several popular podcasts and news programs, but he still routinely conducted field investigations.
Right here. Can't really see him. Right here. Knuckle, maybe? Or finger.
Pawtuckaway State Park is home to several sightings, and an area where Jason conducted his investigations.
Can't tell if it was a deer or a coyote. Here we go. Ooh. Although it's possible trees don't generally break off that far off the ground.
Unless the guy breaking it's 10 feet tall.
Yeah, I mean, that's 6 feet, so
Yeah, it's about 10 foot. Between that and
That's,
these three pieces here.
yeah. That one off the stump.
This one is. Wow, this one's big.
Jason even drove almost 16 hours to investigate the rugged mountains of southeastern Kentucky with Crypto Crew founder Thomas Marcum. The two spent the day in the forest and made several discoveries.
Okay, this is Jason and Thomas with Crypto Crew, and we are in our Bigfoot area, and we have come across what we consider an unusual stick formation. It is in an X, but it's also weaved into a branch of this smaller pine tree. We feel like it is noteworthy because we do know it is a Bigfoot area. It's where the game cam Bigfoot come from. Go ahead and do that again, Jason, to show that these are not pushed over. They are actually placed there. Looks broke too.
It was broken.
So that is an unusual.
I don't want to disturb it anymore.
That is an unusual formation. So we're going to trek on and see if we can find maybe some more interesting things. Documentation purposes, but that's what do you say? That's about 12 foot off the ground, maybe more. Oh yeah, that's easy.
Okay.
10 feet. 10 feet. Nothing else really disturbed around it.
That was the vertical. When it was broken, I would say probably 12.
Something to think about.
There's quite the rock sticking up there.
Oh yeah. And you see it's so dense around it. You just can't see if there's openings there or what. Oh yeah, it's flattened it right out, didn't it? Here, right, that break right there is fairly, I mean, ain't that old. And look here, that other one is bent over, and they're wedged together somehow. Ain't that weird?
And to give perspective, I'm 6'3".
So that's
all of 8 foot.
yeah, that's big. Check that. Go out to the end where that's over and see if you can tell how it's wedged in there. Is it wedged into that little standing living tree there? That's totally looks unnatural to me. I mean, if that was something that was occurring just naturally, it seemed like you'd find more of it.
I don't have the biggest hands in the world.
It's a good size though. So Now this is not very far from where we just found the pine tree and the other. What you got, about 4 inches?
3.5 diameter.
3.5, so. And that's pretty solid.
It's solid.
And it's broke just like nothing.
There's nothing anywhere down through that way that would say it got knocked over by another branch or tree falling.
Nope, nothing laying around that could have hit it. I guess I might as well show this marker too, because I've showed them before. In areas of Bigfoot activity, we find these limbs, and they will be thoroughly jabbed down in the ground. And as you notice, this limb is big, and it didn't fall off this little skinny pine tree. So how did it stick in the ground? And we always find those in Bigfoot areas. So I think this deserves a little more exploring, don't you? Let's head on down this creek bank a little bit.
All right. Yeah, if you want to. We are out here in Hulen. Come across this little deal here. That branch we found set nicely in the nook of this tree.
And we think it came from over that way. How did it get there?
I think it came from somewhere back here, which is 8-10 feet away.
Yeah, and it can go in the wrong direction.
Right. But to have a tree branch this size fall onto a tree branch this size, fall onto a tree branch this size, I just cannot see how it would not break. And again, to have it perfectly balanced. Kentucky is one cool place, man. That's all I got to say about that.
Okay, Jason, you drove 15 hours to get down here.
I did.
And I've took you free hiking. And it's really easy, right?
Yeah, piece of cake.
What do you think about the mountains of Kentucky?
Well, I live 30 miles from the White Mountains, which are known to be some pretty rugged territory. And I will be very honest and say I have never in my life hiked an area as demanding as this place. I am not ashamed to say that I am beat, and we have only been out here for a couple hours.
Couple hours, yeah.
And
so when I tell people that I go out for 5, 6, 7 hours and do this,
I got 3 words for that. You the man.
It's rough. That's why I'm kind of hard on people who try to Bigfoot in sandals and pair of shorts. And it's good if you can, but I've never found them at the beach.
No. I've done a lot of investigating in New Hampshire, and some areas are tough to go in. I'm not gonna say that the whole area is easy peasy compared to this, but this is constant, hard travel.
A lot of rolling rocks, briars, vines.
Yeah, there's so many.
And it's steep.
The main difference is it's just so different. I mean, there's between all them loose rocks, a steady up and downhill vines, and you're always checking out for anything that may be coming at you from any direction.
Well, that is a reason why you have to be prepared if you're coming out. I mean, we've got water, we've got stuff to snack on if we get hungry, and lights, and I'm sure we've got stuff to start fire with if we need to.
Oh yeah.
But you got to.
Fire starter.
But you got to be prepared. You come out into and you go hiking in general anywhere. You need to be prepared for the area. But in this area, it's physically demanding. You better take it in short spurts so you get used to it.
The preparation for the being prepared to go into an area like this is so much more different than walking around at Pawtuckaway State Park in Raymond, New Hampshire.
Right. Beautiful place, though.
It is a beautiful place, and this is an absolutely gorgeous place.
Well, now that we got the easy part out of the way, I'm going to take you into the rough stuff.
Let's do it.
And if you would, Jason, would you stand up and just tell us briefly how this sighting came about, what you were doing?
Sure. He would not budge. I look back at it, it starts whimpering and shaking and leaving. So I stepped back, I stood right behind him and eyeballed down where he was looking at, and I see this black figure. He would be doing this. Had his arm up behind a little berm. First thing I thought in my head was, oh great, bear.
After returning home, Jason's quest to discover more Bigfoot evidence continued.
Something's been stomping through here. Whatever it was is tough because it's all prickle bushes. This whole area has been stomped down. Interesting little tree bent over with my experience, them small saplings bounce right back up when you bend them over. I don't know if this is coming out on the video, but they don't come out, they don't bounce up too good when you stick the top end of it in the mud. And we have what's left of, for this area, a very large snake. I don't know who he pissed off. So this is where it happened. Quite a while ago, but let's see if I can get the camera turned around here. Just walking along with Midas, and he stopped, started looking around, and started growling and getting all nervous and stuff. So I stopped and looked around, and I'm going to pause this for a second and flip the camera over and note this area looks totally different. It's been, what, 6 years? So the place looks completely different. However, this is the spot. And that was the moment that changed my life, when I saw a 9+ foot tall bipedal hair covered creature stand up and turn around and walk away. Every emotion I had. surfaced at that point. It was probably 200 yards in that direction. This has all grown up a lot in the past few years. So if he was standing out there right now, I wouldn't be able to tell. But anyway, this is the spot a few years ago that changed my life. Dark brown, very heavily muscled. Again, like I said, I'd estimate 9 to 9.5 feet tall. I'm a poor judge of weight. It would have to be in the area of 700 to 900 pounds, maybe a little more. They're just gigantic. 3.5 foot at the shoulder. And now I don't know where he is. And I'm still looking. Much the same as every other person who says that they've seen Bigfoot. It was absolutely massive. Shoulder span, I would say 3.5 feet anyway, perhaps a little more. The thing that got me the most is it was, for the area, fairly thick brush all around, and when he turned to walk away, 3 strides and it was out of sight, and I never heard a sound.
Were you a believer in Bigfoot before this sighting?
I would hesitantly say yes, that I was. I've been intrigued by the subject for many, many years. Up until then, I had not actively investigated, but I start calling March 8th of 2012 the day I was born, because everything from there on out went to me doing what I felt to be my part in helping the world understand that this creature really does exist. And gotten some pretty decent evidence along the way. However, nothing concrete yet.